assistive technology is. So, assistive technology and accessibility resources are any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of persons with disability. I'm going to repeat that. Any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of persons with disabilities. Okay. Now, typically, you will go through disabilities. However, for my son's school, they do have some programs where you do not have to go through disabilities. So, the assistive tech that we are looking at for my son is writing supports, but they also offer speech to text options, reading supports, note-taking supports, and then tools for individuals with visual impairments, tools for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. And if any of these resources speak to your child and you want more information, put it in the chat. I love a good question. So, for my son, we are looking at writing supports. So, like he said, I like to use Grammarly. But I wanted to see what other programs his schools offers. So, they offer Grammarly in this program called Kurzweil 3000. So I got really excited about Kurzweil 3000 because when my son received his very first neuropsychological evaluation, and when your child has either a neuropsychological evaluation or a psychoeducational evaluation, at the end they provide supports and follow-up. So things that they suggest, the programs that they suggest that the school uses for your child. Also behavioral and social supports that the child may need, and ways to support the child in their new diagnosis. So when my son was diagnosed the very first time, the psychologist recommended the Kurzweil 3000 program. And I actually ended up calling Kurzweil 3000 to speak to the customer service. But I actually ended up not speaking to the customer service agent. I actually ended up getting in contact with, I guess, sales, because they really explained to me how the program works in depth, because I had a suspicion that the school may not know what this program is, and I would need to advocate for it. So that's something to note, not for college, but for high school, middle school, elementary. Sometimes a program will be offered or suggested by a psychologist, but the school is not fluent. They don't understand what that program is. They tend to be resistant. So the more you know about the assistive technology that's being offered, it makes it where you're able to advocate better and convince the school why your child needs it, instead of, like I said, the default is, well, let's see what they do without it or with their basics first. But back to my geek moment, Kurzweil 3000. Okay, so on this page, it explains the difference. So Grammarly, I feel like everybody uses Grammarly, but that could just be in my world. So Grammarly has a dictionary, embedded dictionary, word prediction, speech recognition. It creates vocabulary lists. Of course, we all love it because it does spelling and grammar check. It does verb check, translation support, and it's supported on Google, Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Office, and Google Docs. Now, I think it's important to note, one of the things about Grammarly is that when a student is using it, there's a thin line between the student and AI, because it is AI generative. So one of the challenges my son had when he was doing his college applications was that he was also using a tool that would rate his essays. So he's using Grammarly to support his grammar, but it would predict and change some of the words, and it would ping as AI. So that's something to note about Grammarly. I'm not saying not to use it, but it's just something to note That was one of the challenges when it came to his essays. So he would have to pay attention to that. It would suggest changes. Sometimes he would come and ask me. It worked out, but that's what Grammarly is. Now, Kurzweil 3000. Okay. So it's dictionary, but it's also a picture dictionary. It does word prediction. It does speech recognition. It's highlighted. It does highlighting notes. So one thing about Kurzweil 3000 is that because it's on your computer, when your child has their books in the PDF forms or the digital version of their books, when they use Kurzweil 3000, it also allows them to highlight in notes. It creates vocabulary lists, spelling grammar checker, a verb checker, flexible spelling support, translation support, ability to create an outline. It does citation management, but not only does it do that, it also helps with text to speech. It has a PDF, a reader tool. It has a screenshot reader. It has simplified vocabulary, an MP3 creation, pronunciation editor, split words into syllables, because this is the feature that supports TTS challenges. I like to use the word challenges. I don't like to say disability. I mean, it's just a challenge. And I believe it takes notes, but it's not cited here. But that is why I love Kurzweil 3000. Now, what I find to be interesting about this school is that everyone in the